What's up, y'all? Got a banger from the Modern King. Let's get straight into it.
One of our guests of the day, the other one today, is a man you may recognise, or maybe you don't. Jordan Peterson has achieved that rare feat, becoming a global superstar academic. So how did he become so well known? He first came to national prominence in Canada in 2016 in a debate about new laws on gender identity. Bill C-16 made it an offence to refuse to call someone by their chosen gender pronoun. Jordan Peterson argued that this would infringe free speech.
Yeah.
While some supporters of the bill said he was advocating prejudice.
No.
From there, his YouTube star took off, and he has now over 1 million subscribers. And his videos, where he talks everything from identity politics, which we've touched on, to the Bible, to Disney movies, have been viewed over 150 million times. Gosh, that's about the same number of viewers we have on this programme. Huh.
Yeah, it's because based logic always wins, bro. That's crazy. 150 million views is wild.
Last year, he supported ex-Google employee James Damore, who had been fired for suggesting men and women have different interests due to biological differences. And his latest book, 12 Rules for Life, has taken...
Dude, it's a great book. Really good book. My favorite rule of that one, and I even pulled it up because I wanted to talk about it, is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. It's a really good one. If you haven't read that book, man, I highly suggest reading the book. I'm not saying you got to agree with everything Jordan Peterson does, but it's a solid book, man. Solid book.
Taken him on a global tour promoting his ideas, and just this week he sold out the 1,000-seater Emmanuel Centre around the corner here in Westminster. So Jordan, you've done endless interviews. You've been publicising your book, and they've generated plenty of heated debate.
No, I actually sold out the Apollo. It had 5,000 seats.
All right, stop boasting. Do you think, though, because of the heat that has been generated, that your views have been misrepresented at times?
Oh, definitely, but that's, you know, that's part and parcel of the process. I did take a very forceful stance, let's say, against some of the excesses of the radical left-wingers, and it's in their best interest to paint me as somehow a figure of the extreme right, because then I don't have to be contended with. But, I mean, it's easy for people's views to be oversimplified in a very large public debate.
I mean, in terms of some of the issues, I mean, you say you've been painted as an extreme right-winger.
No, some people have tried that. Not very successfully, but they've tried it.
And you came to prominence in part over your opposition to this law that we just talked about in Canada, proposing the use of preferred pronouns for transgender people. Just for clarity...
Mandating them.
Yeah.
Right.
Saying that you should do it.
No, that you had...
I mean, that does violate free speech. Chat, put a one in the chat if you agree with that. I think if you're mandating that I have to identify you or have to affirm you for certain thing, that is totally against free speech, bro. It's like me making you call me a king or something like that.
To do it.
Right, you had to do it by law. But just for clarity, do you think a trans woman is a real woman?
What?
I don't really like the way those questions are formulated. You know, I don't know what that means. What do you mean a real woman?
Well, I'm asking you, in your mind, you know, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that women...
Biologically, you're not.
Women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant. It doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think that people should be treated with respect and dignity if they happen not to fit easily into a gender category. That's a different issue.
Right.
But it's a matter of definition. And I actually think it's a foolish argument in some sense. Because what do you mean by real?
Well, I mean, you've just clarified that, though. You don't think that a trans woman is a woman. And do you think that that is what is behind or explains your opposition to this idea of a law mandating you to use a preferred pronoun, is because you don't actually believe that that's the truth, that a trans woman is a woman, and therefore you can't use...
One thing I will never understand with women like this, like, they're so okay with just giving up their womanhood. You can be a woman. Anybody can be a woman. A dog can be a woman. Loki can be a woman. Like, where's the sense of dignity and honor in being a woman, being like, no, I was born this way. I can have children. Like, where's that sense of honor? Because as a man, I feel like there's a sense of honor in being a man. Chat, I mean, let me know if I'm way off base here, but like, this is just so wild to me that there's like almost like Oprah when it comes to womanhood. Everybody can be a woman. It's so odd to me.
Use that pronoun.
No, that's not my argument at all.
Really?
Yeah, really. My argument is that the government shouldn't compel voluntary speech.
No, but I know what your argument is, and
no,
you've
but
made
that's
it very
really
clearly.
it. No, but that's exactly it. There's
but the motivation
There's
behind
no motivation behind it.
But you don't believe
I wouldn't
a trans woman
put
is a woman.
everything on my online in my life to take the stance I did unless I had thought that through very deeply. And I've thought it through very deeply. There aren't hidden motivations that have to do with some arbitrary prejudice against trans people.
Okay.
It's pure and simply this. There's never been a time in English common law history where the government compelled speech, and the Canadian government dared to do that. And that was unacceptable. And they masked it with this show of compassion for the oppressed, and I don't buy it.
Right, but you would.
No, I agree with that. It's all about free speech at the end of the day. And the thing is like, chat, we might not even see eye to eye on everything. We might not agree on everything. I don't agree with everything Jordan Peterson does, but I can respect him as an individual, right? I think that's the whole point of this, is like, it's an attack on free speech. And as soon as you take that away, man, it's really just the downfall, in my opinion, because then you got to watch what you say. You can't speak your mind, and that's the whole point of it, is that they're mandating speech, and that's a big problem I have with it.
Would, as I think you said, at an individual level, if somebody asked you, if somebody asked you to use a particular pronoun, you would do so.
Well, I have.
You have.
Yeah, no, I agree. If somebody asked me politely, hey, can you call me this? Like, dude, yeah. Now, it may be a bit of a transition for me. It may be, no pun intended, it may be a bit difficult for me to call you something that I typically would not call you. You know, if you look like a woman and you want me to call you a man or something like that, it would be difficult, it'd be a learning curve, but I would try to respect it.
Yes.
Let's talk about feminism. Are you a feminist?
No, not as it's currently defined, certainly not.
No. Well, in any other definition?
Well, I think that anybody who doesn't think that the competitive landscape should be opened up for equality of opportunity is not thinking. And so everyone's interests are better served if people have as equal access to opportunity to display their talents and to manifest their talents in the world as possible. So in that sense, certainly. But feminism now, and this is why it's so deeply unpopular, a very small minority of women in the UK identify as feminists. And the reason for that is it's primarily become an ideological weapon. And it's an ideology that I detest, actually.
Well, nowadays it seems like it's more just misandry and man-hating than equality.
Ideology that it's associated with, collectivist ideology.
Right. I mean, okay, and that's your view about feminism. Aisha, are you a feminist?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a very proud feminist, and when I was a special advisor in government, I worked on women and equality issues, and I was very proud actually of a piece of legislation I got on the statute book with my former boss Harriet Harman, the Equality Act in 2010, which strengthened our anti-discrimination laws. And I fought very hard to get more women into public life, into the Labour Party, and I'm very, very proud of being a feminist. Hence my...
You know what? Let's get more equality when it comes to underwater welders. Let's get more equality when it comes to bricklayers. Let's do that. What about offshore oil rigging? Let's get more equality with that. That's the real equality I'm talking about. Come on now, not the easy stuff. Not the in the office with the fluorescent light bulbs and the AC. I want the rough jobs. That's where I want the equality. Construction workers, roofers. That's what I want.
Pink dress.
Oh, well, all right. Obviously reverting to type then in the pink dress.
Absolutely, well...
you would like men to regain or reclaim their strength physically, mentally and morally. Is that broadly correct?
I would say morally, fundamentally, but I think the other things go along with that.
Right, and if that
But it isn't men precisely who I'm speaking to. It's people. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm actually interested in individuals, and I'm interested in their fortification against tragedy. You know, every time I do an interview, the interview is always political. It's always political.
Well, the clue is in the title of this programme. We are the Daily Politics.
No, fair enough. No, look, fair enough. And I'm not casting aspersions at this programme, but the fundamental news that's important about what I'm doing isn't the political element. And the people who talk to me don't talk politically. They say they've watched my lectures.
But part of it is that I think for a lot of people the kind of personal does become the political.
Or the political becomes the personal.
Yeah. And
one thing that I got to commend Jordan Peterson on is, like, anytime somebody cuts him off, he just lets them have it. Like, do you guys notice it? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. As men, we have to be okay with people disrespecting us and cutting us off. We have to be the patient ones. It's like understood that men have to be the patient ones, and everyone else can be emotional, but we can't. It's just so funny to me. Like, notice this during the interview just now. He just got cut off, and they didn't care at all. But have you seen him cut them off once? No.
Politically, they say they've watched my lectures.
But part of it is that
he's like, okay, cool, go ahead. I'll play the high ground here.
I think for a lot of people the kind of personal does become the political.
Or the political becomes the personal.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the...
but in this situation, a lot of people are wrong, because primarily what's happening is people are watching my lectures, and as a consequence, their lives are improving dramatically.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure people are have had a huge conversion after, and they're much happier once they've been.
It's not a conversion.
But what I would like to do...
The disrespect is crazy. I'm sure they've had a conversion. Like, what?
Is kind of almost... I think at the moment the discussion about feminism is very divisive, and sometimes it can sort of be like, okay, men have to lose and women have to gain. Actually, everybody has a lot to gain by greater equality. Now, whether you get the equality of outcome that you want, I think only time will tell. But certainly, equality of opportunity is very important. And actually,
we can agree on that.
Which, yeah, I completely agree on that. I think everybody should have the equality of opportunity. But I think what feminism's turned into, and chat, put one in the chat if you agree, is that they now want a quality of outcome. I want to make as much money as you. I want to get all the same accolades as you, but I don't want to have to do the work. See, that's where I have a problem.
A lot of men would benefit from that. So I think a lot of men are having a lot of crises at the moment in terms of mental health, suicide issues, their own sense of identity, because I think some of the stereotypes put on men are quite limiting for them as well. I think they make men quite unhappy as well.
The devil's in the details with regards to equality, because I'm an advocate of equality of opportunity. But
and
I think
outcomes.
the idea outcomes, that's an appalling doctrine.
Why?
Yeah. Horrible.
All right.
Equality of opportunity is one thing, but equality of outcomes, horrible.
Because you have to produce an unbelievably potent bureaucracy to make the ever greater and ever finer distinctions that are necessary to enforce equality of outcome. How many group differences are you going to equalize across? Is it just gender and sex? How many genders?
No, so
gender and ethnicity? How many genders?
I think
how many ethnicities?
How
many races?
We'll let Aisha answer.
I think what people are trying to do with this, and certainly as somebody who has sought to sort of do this myself, I think you set yourself ambitions for what you would like to see, and then you try and remove as many of the structural barriers and obstacles. So you try and create that fair crack of the whip. And
that's equal opportunity. Yeah, there's going to be obstacles, hardships along the way. So it's all about the journey, not the destination. The problem is you want to remove all the obstacles when in reality the obstacles, as Marcus Aurelius says in the Meditations, the obstacle is the way. So what are you talking about? That's like the whole point of it. If it's difficult to achieve, then you feel good about it afterwards. Why are we trying to make everything easy to achieve?
And that equality of opportunity to see where you get to with the outcomes.
That's
now,
fine.
We are in very early stages. It's only 100 years since women got the vote in this country.
Yeah, but dude, I hate the whole voting thing, because it was to protect them. It was to say, hey, you don't have to be drafted, which I'm sure most women don't want to be drafted into war. You couldn't get a bank account because they didn't want women to go into debt. So they're a protected class in that sense. And so now it's just so funny to me they use that like as an avant-garde arguing point when it's ill faith when they bring that stuff up.
We have had a long established patriarchal society and set up for a long time in the world. And
and it's been so great that it's allowed you to get on TV. It's allowed you to have the job that you have. It's allowed 2 women to get on screen and 1 man. You know how hard it was for Jordan Peterson to get on this show? I don't know neither of these ladies. Look at Fresh and Fit. Look at the Whatever podcast. You know how difficult it's going to be for me to get on the Whatever podcast? It's going to be very, very difficult. I'm going to have 250,000 subscribers. I'm going to have multiple accolades just to get a shot at being on the show. Same with Fresh and Fit. If I want to be on the show, I have to be an accomplished man. These women will get on there and they're selling their butthole online for $4.99. Like, what are you talking about? Equality. It's so much harder for men to get the platform as opposed to women. You ladies can post bikini pictures online and boom, there you go. Loki, are you ready for a freaking treat, dude? Before we finish this vid? You are? Okay. Free. Sit. Wait. Free. Go to your place. I'm a little late on that. Sorry, chat. But no, back to my point though. Like, it's going to be... That's why on those panels, it's like 2 guys and 10 girls. Or, on the Whatever podcast, it's Brian, 1 guy and 7 or 8 girls. Like, these girls have... As long as you have an OnlyFans, you're good. As long as you're selling your body online, cool, you're good on the Whatever podcast. It's about as much prerequisites as you have to have. But for me to get on the show, bro, it's going to be so difficult for me to get on the show. I've reached out to Brian multiple times. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I've got 165,000 subscribers on YouTube, 150,000 on Instagram. Done so many episodes. I've gained over 100,000 subs in a year, but still, that's not gaining the attention of these guys yet, which is okay. I'm willing to work for it. I think that's the whole point. It'll make it worth it one day. But these women just really want handouts. It's crazy work to me.
This country. So I think we have a long way to go to see where it plays out. There is no country in the world where, we really do have gender equality properly yet in terms of real decision making and real
some of the
power.
Scandinavian countries maybe,
but they're still not.
That's the thing. They want the cush decision making positions, but they're not willing to do the grunt work. I think if you want to have the top of the top, you also have to be willing to do the bottom of the bottom. You want to do the offshore, good Lord, offshore oil rigging. You want to do the bricklaying, the construction, the roofing. Cool. Then you can go make decisions. But if you're not willing to do that, I don't think you should get those opportunities.
Quite there. And I think you've spoken a lot about this. There's still a way to go in Scandinavia. Things are not perfect in Scandinavia
I haven't spoken
at all.
about that specifically. I've spoken about
You spoke about the right stuff yesterday. You talked about the Scandinavian.
Well, I've spoken about the fact that, see, one of the things that's happened in the analysis of the differences between men and women is that the social constructionist claim is that the differences are socially constructed, right? Is that it's a consequence of environment that men and women differ. But what the scientific literature indicates is that as cultures become more egalitarian, like they have in Scandinavia, the differences between men and women actually increase rather than decreasing, which is a direct repost to the social constructionist view. So they just deny all that. The biggest differences in the world in interest and temperament are between Scandinavian men and women. It's exactly the opposite of what everyone predicted.
Equality.
That's it. Dude, I hate to say it, but like, equality doesn't work, man. We're different. We're better together, and together we're better. The thing is men bring certain things to the table, so do women. What happened to the good old days where we could just embrace our differences? And it's all right. It's okay to agree to disagree. It's fine. We're different biologically, instinctually. And that's okay, dude. What happened to those days where it was okay to be different? Why does everybody want to be the same now? Like, if we have a world where everyone's the same, that sounds ridiculously boring to me. Absolutely ridiculously boring to me. All right, let's get into the Discord. We have a couple other battle stations. This is my wife's setup. This is from Russell. Oh, I think I saw a little bit of yours. Look at you. You even put the chairs facing. I like the little Lord of the Rings thing. Dude, this is really cool. Couples that game together stay together, bro. This is cool. But you already have a monitor. I have one, yes. But what about a second monitor? Loki, are you choking on that stuff back there? Goodness gracious, brother, man. And then here's one from, who's this? This is from S. Nigel? I don't even know how to say this one. Solid. Wood panels. Looks like an older home. I like the desk. Looks like you got a little potion there. Got the VR. Nice and tidy. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I like your PC. I'll give the other one a, let me go back to it. I'm going to give this one also I'm going to give this one 8 out of 10 as well. I like it. Dual PCs. This is really cool. I think, and look how beautiful. Like, where do you guys live? This is amazing. Unless that's wallpaper right there, but that looks amazing. Make sure you guys join the Discord, put in your battle stations in the battle stations chat, and then I will give you guys a rating 1 out of 10. There's a couple suggestions here. We have a little bit of time left. Calm Vibes with Mr. Nobody. She friend zoned him for 7 years. He slept with her friend. Now guess what? What's going to happen? What is?
Male friend that's been pursuing me for quite some time now, but that recently changed due to the fact that I invited him out with a friend of mine, a girlfriend, and they ended up having sex. Now, he's still trying to pursue me, but I just can't get over the fact that, that happened. So how do I break it to him without losing the friendship?
Didn't you say y'all were friends before?
Yes.
And he was acting like your friend, but he was pursuing you?
Yes.
And you kept telling him no?
Yes.
So what you need to break to him now? Here's what you got to do. Here's the only way to fix this. You have to put it out your mind that happened with him and the girl. Y'all wasn't in a relationship. He's been asking you for 7 years. Now, I think that's a long time to keep asking somebody for something, and they keep saying no, and then you go and do something else. So really can't get mad at the man.
Right.
He did what most men in here would have done. So I would say, if I were you, I'd give him a shot, but you got to block that out. You cannot bring it up.
I don't know about that. Steve Harvey, in my opinion, gives some of the worst advice. If he's in the friend zone, he's in the friend zone. The advice should be for the man. Cut and run, brother. Get out of there. Why are you wasting your time one-on-one for 7 years, bruh? This is why we got to end the simpidemic, man. Stop giving all your time and energy to women that do not want to reciprocate any of it. Go where you're appreciated. Like, if a woman's not giving you that attention, bro, you waiting for 7 to 10 years to crack her ain't gonna cut it. It's not gonna work. Like, that long game doesn't work, bro. When's the last time you met a guy that's like, yeah, man, I just chased her down for 20 years and then finally she let me crack her? No. It doesn't work, brother, man. It doesn't work. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Loki, did you have a good time? He's just back there eating. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Go cop the 2 ebooks, The 4 Pillars of Personality and The 4 Steps to Style. They make you irresistible to women and respected by men. I will see you guys tomorrow, man. Peace.